Morning and hello. I've been asked a couple of times how we do our lessons now that we're no longer travelling to people's houses, or at least for the duration we're not travelling to people's houses. So what I've done is put together a few items, so a few of the things that we do, just to give you an idea. What I'm going to do is, so basically what would happen is for the first few moments of the lesson, we'd do the usual, hello, how are you? You had a good week and all the rest of it. And then I would go through what our options were. I'm not going to go through all the options because this could make it a very long and tedious video. So I just give you kind of like an example for an English lesson and a maths lesson, if that's okay. So if you were to do the English lesson first, one of the resources I might have with me to provide would be something like this. This would be if we were focusing on creative writing. And what the first activity could be is you've just won the car. The scenario could be that you've just won the car of your dreams. How do you feel? Can you think of an emotion to describe how you feel, starting with each letter of the alphabet? So this would become like a warm-up task. And I can give you from your end, I do the lessons predominantly when I can on Zoom, because it means I can give you the ability to annotate my screen, so we can both take it in turns to jot in ideas. So I might say astonished, you might say surprised, I might say flabbergasted, you might say excited. And so what we'd do is take it in turns to try and think of words to fill up the alphabet with different emotions. Or, oh, this one's already completed, didn't realise that. Or what I might do is, or you may prefer, you'd have both as options, to, so that's better, complete the word search, which has got different ideas, again, of different emotions. And the idea with this is that when you actually come to write, you've already got some ideas flowing in your mind of the sorts of things you might want to write about. You're not trying to go straight from a blank mind, blank idea. You've got some inspiration there to get you going. The word search, the A to Z, may take about 15-20 minutes each. You may want to do one, you may want to do both, or you may decide that you actually do want to just jump straight into the writing, although that's unusual. Most people want to do one or two of the warm-up tasks. And so those three tasks in themselves would probably take an hour. So as an idea, as an English lesson, that's the sort of thing, if we were focusing on creative writing, that's the sort of thing we may do. Okay, I'll just stop sharing that for a second. If we were doing a maths lesson, what we might do is once again start with a game. So this is a game I did with someone the other day. It was recurring decimals. What we had to do was change the fractions into recurring decimals and the decimals into fractions. And so we might spend a few minutes first. Bear with me a second. In using the whiteboard, I can annotate here and I can give you an example of how we do it if they're not sure. If it's something we've done before, something they've done at school, we may just jump in straight to the game. But if it's not, then what we might do is take an example from the game and work it out together on here before we then dive into doing the game. Oops, sorry, did not mean to clear that. Okay, so we might start with something like snakes and ladders. Alternatively, another game we may play is, this is one I did with another lad the other day. We had the questions on the screen so it was easily seen by both of us, and again I gave him the ability to annotate my screen. And what we'd perhaps do is combine it with this game, and what we'd do is one of us would be red, yellow or blue, and the other would be a different colour. Say you're yellow, I'm blue. I think I've used this game before, but say I'm yellow, you're blue. If anyone lands on the yellow, I'd have to work out what X is on one of the shapes. If anyone lands on the blue, you would have to work it out, and then we have forfeits. Have another go back 3 spaces, miss a go, other person answers one, you answer another one, etc. So it's kind of like semi on the computer, but also using the games as well. Another game we may do is, just stop sharing that for a second. I should have picked some, I did. You may play a pairs game. So on the whiteboard again, we'd have the pair stuck on, so we'd do it in columns. I might have, say, 5 going down in 2 columns and 5 going down in 2 columns. And I should have prepared this, sorry. What I would then say to you is, do you want 1 or 2? You say 2, so that, and then do you want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you say 4. So I take the 4th card from the 2nd row, and then you see the question, work it out, and then you'd have to try and find the answer in the other columns. If I was actually a bit more organised and had it ready like I would be for a lesson, that would probably seem less confusing, but I hope that makes sense. Basically, it's a pairs game. Or what we may do is, having done the snakes and ladders, the pairs game, or the board game, something like this, we may then have a look at actually working through, this is obviously with the older children, more the GCSE sort of end of the scale, working through some formal questions associated with that, which they might expect to find on a GCSE paper. So, and again, they can annotate the screen, show they're working out, and we can work it out together. Any problems with them working it out, either I can annotate on here, or we can skip across to the whiteboard that I showed you before, and we've got more space on there to work it out together. If that gets us to the end of, or say it's a hour's lesson and we've only used an hour, what we might do is finish with, I'm not sure if you can still see that actually, so bear with me half a second. We might finish with a game of noughts and crosses like this. So again, you can annotate my screen, and say we're practicing the, let's do something simple, 6 times table. I'll be pink and you can be whatever colour you like, and I'll go first, and I want to take this square, so what I'll do, 6 times 7 is 42, and then it's your turn, and you might want to go here, 4 6s, and what you do is, before you can actually claim your square, 6 4 is 24, so you have to answer 6 times the number which is written in it. I mean, this is a game you could do yourselves at home. It's really easy to create and prepare. Is one I often recommend to parents. And the goal is to be the first person to get a row of 3. I call it noughts and crosses. A lot of people I know call it tic-tac-toe, but that's the basic idea of the game. 9 6 is 54, etc. So that's just quite a good game filler at the end of the lesson. Bear with me a second, I'm just going to pause it. So one more thing I thought I'd show you before. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'd press there. Try again. One more thing I'll show you before we leave it there is, again, we can, I've shown you maths, I've shown you English, I've just quickly got this one up, which is an 11+ game. And this would be one where you have to find the hidden 4-letter word. So you may combine it with something like a board game, you may just work through it. Another game you may do is, I have a set of cards, I've mentioned this I think in one of the blogs, and some of the cards have pictures on, something associated to what the child's interested in. Some of them are blank. If you turn over a picture card, it's your turn to fill out or find the hidden 4-letter word. If you turn over a blank, you'll save. Or what we might do is, if you roll a dice, if you roll an odd number, we both have our own dice. It makes it easier if possible. But if you roll an odd number, then it's my responsibility to find one. If you roll an even number, then it's your turn to find one. And the idea there is, especially while the child's getting used to the task, it gives them a chance to build up their confidence, and not all the onus is actually on them having to do the work. If you have any questions about how we carry out online lessons, please do ask, but hopefully that gives you a bit of a taster and some food for thought. Have a really lovely bank holiday weekend, and I shall speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.